Hey everybody, this is Lynn with Kansas Troubles Quilters, and I'm going to start by giving you a few tips and techniques that I use throughout the Vintage Christmas Sampler Quilt Along quilt. I don't have the quilt here, it's hanging at the store, but you all have the pattern. This is our quilt. And I'd like to kind of explain how I write directions, what to follow along, how to follow along, and how to um, read my SKU chart. This is the chart of all the fabric in the Vintage Fabric collection. So the SKU numbers that Moda uses are along the side and along the top. All of my tans are 11, golds are 12, reds are 13, etc. We have that consistently throughout all the Kansas Troubles lines. So if you find a 6-digit SKU that has 11 on the end, you know that is a tan with a print in it. If it has a 21, it's a tan tone on tone. So when you're trying to find a fabric on the internet or in a quilt shop, that's a great way. These are free to download from our website under fabric collections. It is a free PDF file. You just download it and print it. Now, one of the things I realized that I did not explain on the first printing of the Christmas sampler booklets was, what does that little gold yellow corner mean? That indicates when Moda duplicates a print in a pre-cut for layer cakes, charms, and mini charms, to get 42 pieces instead of the regular 40 in a line. They add 2 at the mill to get your pre-cut to that point. This one, this line actually only has 34 prints, so they duplicated several. You can see across the top, they duplicated the 2 feature prints, and they duplicated a bunch down here, and some they even added 2 extra. So if you're buying a layer cake, a charm, or a mini charm of this collection, you would actually get 3 of these black ones and 3 of the same print in the tan with the red and green print. So that's how our SKU charts are made. I have one for you in the front of your vintage sampler booklet, and you can refer to that at any time. I call the fabrics by the black 6, red 2, whatever that is, instead of the long SKU number, because in my mind that is a simpler way to do it. In the list of contents, we will go through the booklet in order throughout the quilt along. There'll be 13 weeks. I'll do 1 block a week and finish up with the assembly in 12 and borders and binding and how to finish in 13. In your supply list, we even have given you some swatches here for the main fabrics. In addition to that, of course, you have a fat quarter bundle, so you have 1 fat quarter of each of the 34 fabrics. There are no duplications of that. And one of the other things that we gave you was our tips and techniques booklet. This is something I try to give out to all my workshop participants and at our retreats, and we've included it in your first quilt along shipment. It just kind of explains to you how my brain works, which should be a much thinner book than this actually, but we will start with pre-wash or not. No, I do not pre-wash my fabric unless it is a character fabric I have purchased at a non-quilt shop establishment, like used to be Joann's. If somebody requested a Bluey quilt or a Nebraska quilt, then I would go and wash the heck out of those before I ever cut into them. That fabric does not have the same quality as Moda, and it will shrink a lot. So I want to make sure my fabric has shrunk as much as it will shrink before I ever start to cut or piece it. Moda fabric only shrinks 1 to 2%. Even when you spray it with a sizing or starch, it really does not shrink enough that you have to worry a whole lot about it. So I do not pre-wash. I like to have the sizing still in my fabric. Pre-cuts, pre-washed are a nightmare. So definitely, I do not pre-wash any pre-cuts. Now, that being said, I do like to prep my fabric with what I use called Material Magic. It comes in a spray bottle, or you can also buy it by the gallon, and then water it down. As it is, it actually makes your fabric more like cardstock paper. You could even run it through your printer if you wanted to, and I do quite often to make quilt labels. So it's really handy full strength for things like that, but I use it about half strength for what I would say more difficult blocks, and about a 2 parts water to 1 part Terrio Magic for just my general sewing. So before I ever start cutting anything, for each block, I would lay out the fat quarters that I need, spray them, let them dry a few minutes, and then press them. And I'm going to have a much more stable, crisp surface to work with. And I really find my piecing has gotten much better using Terrio Magic. So any little edge we can get as quilters to make our projects closer to perfect, it's a win for me. Now, I like to use a size 70 needle. My preference is Aurifil 50 weight thread. So you have to have your needle size correspond and play nicely with your thread. The thread is 50 weight, and it is, any kind of thread is made to fit in the groove above the hole, the eye of your needle. So if your needle is too large, then that groove is going to be wider than it needs to be for your thread, and your thread will wobble as it goes into the eye. Hence, when you're stitching straight, it will also wobble coming out. So if you have any issues, you swear you have your straight stitch on, but you have a little bit of a bobble in your stitch, check your needle size and make sure it's a 70, maybe 75 if you're using a 50 weight thread. So if you go to Aurifil's website, they have some guides for you on weight of their thread versus needle size to use. For applique, I actually use their 80 weight thread and a size 60 needle. Finer thread, finer needle. Just makes sense. Moving on, I like to use Quilter Select tools as rotary cutter, rulers, and mats. I think they are accurate. The rotary cutter is made of metal. It's more like a tool, a heavy man's tool, like in your toolbox. And it really relieves a lot of the strain and stress on my joints and my wrist and thumb from cutting a lot. Joy Johnson works for us at the quilt shop. She cuts literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of fabric a month. And she has said it has made a huge difference. She isn't having any carpal tunnel issues anymore. So you might try Quilter Select. It's an Alex Anderson product. So I think the most important thing is to prepare your fabric. If you like to wash it, go ahead. If you don't, prepare it with some kind of spray sizing, whether it's magic sizing or Terrio Magic. I think you'll be happier with the results. And test your block. I always do 1 unit at least and measure it to make sure that my block is working. And if not, recheck the instructions. Always, always, always. Look over the instructions, read through it. Don't get in a hurry. Reading twice eliminates having to rip. So I will leave you with that as far as tips and techniques go. And I will see you for block 1. All of the videos will be posted to my YouTube channel at Kansas Troubles. Thank you.